I'm Ray. Welcome to Ray's Toolbox. Remember the video when we was making the Christmas trees? My wife said, why don't you make a cross? That sounded like a pretty good idea. So guess what we're making this year for gifts? Let me show you how we make them. For the base of the cross, I used plaster lath. First I cut them in 4.5 inch sections for the base. I used wood shims for the rest of the cross. The next section that sits on the base I made roughly 4 7/8 inches tall. I made the arms 2 3/8 inches long. And then I cut 3 pieces 1 1/4 inch. One of them will be at the top. That's how wide the cross will be, how thick it will be. And that's also what I used at the ends of the arms, and that's how wide that part will be. I just kind of eyeballed all the different sizes. Make yours the way you like it. I used a torch to go ahead and burn the grain in the wood. I think that added to the overall look of the cross itself. To fasten it all together, I just used my hot glue gun and some hot glue. That worked really good. It cools off quick, sets up quick, so there's really no downtime waiting for the glue to dry. It also fills in any voids in the wood and works really good for that. The only thing you have to watch is don't glue it down to the board. So I have cardboard under here, and when I hold the pieces together while the glue sets, I'll move it just a little bit to keep it from fastening itself to the cardboard. After it was all together, I took some polyurethane and sealed the outside of the wood and just a little bit inside the front lip where the epoxy wouldn't be filling. I wanted it to be sealed and looking good. I had some HDPE or high density polyethylene sheet that I glued them down on. Plexiglass works just about as good. Before I glued all the crosses together, I cut a small notch in the bottom of one side on the back end of the crosses. I used that notch to get the wire to the inside of the cross. The first thing I did was put some glue in the bottom of the notch, press the wire in, and then a little bit of glue on top of it to seal the wire so no epoxy would leak out. Just as a added precaution, I went ahead and put a bead of glue around the bottom of the cross and made sure it covered the wire where it went through. And then I set it down on top of the plastic and glued around the edges. I put a bead of glue all the way around the edges, making sure it ran under the cross, and sealed the wood itself down to the plastic backing. The first layer of epoxy I poured really thin in the cross, and I tried to collar it to match the wires that would be on top of it so they didn't show up quite so bad. This layer was only 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch thick. The lights that I used were the little battery pack lights that you get around Christmas time, that you put around a wreath that hangs on the door or something like that. After the epoxy had set up, I put the lights in the bottom of the cross. It was really hard to get them to lay flat, if you will, so I did put a little bit of hot glue in a few key places to help keep them down in place. Next, I took clear epoxy and poured a thin layer, again about an 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch max, in the bottom of each one of these. If you make one of these, don't worry if that first layer doesn't cover all of your wires. You want to make multiple layers to fill the mold in to cover up the wires. After everything had set up, you can see how easily these molds release from the black plastic that we used. If you have just hot glue, you can roll the excess off of the form with just your fingers. If you have a little bit of epoxy that leaked out, you may need to use a knife of some sort. Just be careful, watch your fingers. So that's how I made this cross for the missus and probably family for gifts this year. If you like the video, thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and ring the bell so you can see what we come up with next. Thanks for watching. Bye.